Okay, so this is a demo of the FW1884. I'm using it within Nuendo. First thing I want to bring your attention to is this right down here. This is the, basically, it's an on-screen display of what you're controlling within the Tascam. I'm just going to leave my mouse over here because we are not going to need it. It ties together your inputs, outputs, and your MIDI control. And basically there's very little that you can't do from this unit. So my trim knobs are right up here. These are used for panning or adjusting other parameters. There's a select, a solo, and a mute. And if we bring up the mixer display, we can get a pretty nice view of how that works. There's a solo, there's a mute, and I can even do a record. Oops, let me hold it down. A record select there. Then if I wanted to solo a couple of them, I can also clear that as well. So that's that. These faders right here, 100mm flying faders, so you do notice that they move. You'll also notice that the title of what I'm controlling down there changes as I move this around. You can also record automation. In fact, it's very easy to do that. If we go back to the main display, and you'll notice right up here, I can turn on read automation or write automation, and then turn those off. These here are common shortcuts. They're save. They're pretty obvious what they are. If I want to have a point right there, I can just click it, and now, as you notice, as I move between my locate points, there's the end point right there. It goes back to the that point I located previously. Cut, copy, paste, loop. So you'll see the loop function is going on and off. All this stuff just saves you tons and tons of time. You're not having to switch constantly back and forth. You're not getting carpal tunnel because you're using the keyboard shortcuts for everything. It's a totally interactive interface. You'll notice as I go down, the screen follows along with me, which is really nice. The jog wheel here, you can use this for scrubbing as well when you're doing very fine editing. The bank is generally what moves us between the channels. Locate, moving between different location points. I can go very quickly to my in and out, and set my in and out as well. And then the standard transport buttons, all the stuff that you just use all the time. I really like the feel of these because they're very lightweight, and I found that if I'm making an edit, or if I want to stop at a very specific point, I can do it really easily. These are very responsive. Now, if I want to control the EQ on this, it's quite easy. First, bring up a viewpoint of the individual channel just by pressing that one button. And then I want to select over here, aux3 is for EQ 1 and 2. I'm following here, so notice number 4 is on or off. Turn that on. See the point lights up on the board. And now I can change the gain or the frequency of that first thing. And it shows me the value on the scribble strip. So if I want to adjust the curve, bring it out a little bit so you can see that better, to be more narrow. Sorry about the delay, I'm using a screen program which is making this seem a little bit jumpy, but actually it's extremely smooth. So I can adjust the curve right there. To go to EQ 3 and 4, because this is a 4-band EQ, I go here, you see it comes on immediately, and I can do the same thing. I can go to my effects sends here, this is all for this one channel, and I can also even add in effects. So, let's say I wanted to add a compressor. I'm just going to go to this one right here. Let's do a multi-band compressor. And in a second, you'll see it pops up. Now I can control this, and you'll see gain, my solo. So if I want to do gain right here, you'll see that little thing. I can boost how much it's doing, and then I can also adjust the frequency of it as well. I haven't touched my keyboard. I've added an effect. I can turn the effect on or off very easily just by going back here, turn it on or off. when you're using the mouse and having to watch, and you're just kind of, you're moving in a circular motion, whatever you're doing, it's distracting. You're focusing on the visual. When you can just do this, you don't even have to look at what you're doing after a while, and you can really focus on the sound. And I've just found that really allows me to get into my mixing. So that's the use of the Tascam. Right there is the Digimax. Sorry, it's kind of awkwardly positioned, but I wasn't really planning on having this here anymore. So the combo between this and the PreSonus gives you 16 simultaneous inputs. There's the original registration card, so you can register the unit for yourself. The drivers, manuals, same thing for the Mac. There is Panther's startup disk. You basically need a startup disk just to like change passwords or do a lot of the override functions for Mac, so they do include that, as well as a whole bunch of documentation, the Digimax included. As I mentioned before, this does have a fresh install of Leopard, which is right there, and iLife08, but I'm not including those because they're family packs. I also included the mouse and keyboard. And just to prove how much I love this Tascam stuff, I really found it to be really functional. There's my Fire 1. As you can see, it's a whole lot smaller than what I have going on right now, but that's what I need. I'm also going to be replacing the Mac G5, which you can see is right down in there, with a PowerBook. I also have the original boxes for both units, so pretty much as good, as close to buying these units new as you can get. One final thing I forgot to mention before, in case you have any concerns about the ability of this machine to run software, I recorded this all on this combo, and I'm running a lot of tracks. I've got a lot of plugins on each of those tracks, and this unit handles it quite well. That's the demo. If you have any other questions, feel free to shoot one off to me. Thank you.